And welcome to OneOnOne, the one and only particular show that definitely brings on board various guests that shape the news agenda in Rwanda and the region. Right here on the platform, we get to discuss various issues that affect you, either directly or indirectly, from the political, social, economic, you name it. And of course, congratulations to us. We were named the second runner-up in the Talk Show of the Year category in the just concluded Media Development Awards that just ended on the Press Freedom Day. Now, in the program today, we have none other than a gentleman who most of you have always been yearning to hear from, and he's here on the show today. He's none other than Marcel Museminali, the MD of a local newspaper called Business Daily. Marcel, welcome to OneOnOne.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
On Twitter, you call yourself Chungs in Rwanda.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Actually, I have a cultural tie with Korea. Mm-hmm. And Chungshin means like a man of the soil, or somebody who what would be a savior or something like that.
So you consider yourself a savior?
Yeah.
A savior, saving people from what?
People save others. In our, we say truth is like a sword. If we use truth, and we can actually shed off enemies and have the people to peaceful environment.
So you are a savior.
Yeah, that's what it means. Actually, I relate that to one person I respect very much, who has been an influence on most of my adult life. And I would like to, actually I brought you a gift.
Oh, I love gifts.
I brought a gift. This is Reverend
As a peace-loving global citizen.
Yes. But based on truth and love. This is Reverend San Myanmon. He's actually influenced my adult life to a great extent.
So you want him to also influence mine?
No two characters can morph into one. But I respect this person more than any person on earth. So I would like to give you, actually, a gift to you.
I'll receive this on behalf of all the OneOnOne fans. Let's see how it changes or influences me right here. It's as a peace-loving global citizen. Are you a peace-loving global citizen?
I am. I love peace. I hate disruptions of society. I get to, when people take others for granted and create a situation where peace will move away, I feel very disturbed. And therefore, I always want to speak out before as a warning. Prophets come out at the beginning and say, hey, there is a problem here, you better. That is what has influenced most of my articles, like the one that we shall be discussing
earlier on, because those who feel like peace is all about having a sense of quietness, a sense of feeling that nobody's rattling me, nobody's is tickling my nerves, but there are those who feel like through your articles you disrupt their peace.
Yeah, but that's it. Let me quote Jesus for you. He said, I came to cast fire upon this earth, and how I wish to already kindled. This was a savior. This was a man of peace. But he said, unless you burn the evil of this world, then you cannot usher in a new world of peace, a new world of goodness. So there is always a struggle between good and evil until evil is eradicated and good begins to ascend above evil. Then you have always a conflicting society. People who are self-seeking, who are selfish, and those people who are altruistic and want to create a world of harmony.
So that is what you're doing.
That happens. So if you see evil, immediately go to it. Evil and goodness cannot live together. Light and darkness do not exist, coexist.
But there are those talking of fire, there are those who feel like the fire in your belly is no longer burning as it used to. We no longer see you at a big press conference, for example, at the president's press conference, where you used to feature a lot and you would ask several questions out there, and people would be like, whoa, that guy.
We decided that we wouldn't attend the presidential press conference, and we said as much.
Why?
Because there are many issues that we need to discuss. If you go there and parade and give somebody public relations only, then that's not good enough. You could be able to write an article, sit down, write an article that can reach 5,000 very intelligent people who would be able to discern what you're saying. You can influence many other people. So we chose to use our time in a better way.
So those who go there are using their time in a wrong way?
No, it's up to them. Their decision is theirs. And they still have the right anyway to ask to go there. Yeah,
it's not that you're being locked out of it.
No, I'm not being.
You personally decided to boycott.
I decided to boycott for such a time that I feel is enough.
When you talk of PR, there are several key things that normally are asked there, and they've never looked like PR, for instance. So give us an example of what you mean when you say those who go there, it's normally time for just talking and standing and talk of PR stuff.
Sometimes we've gone there when only the international community, international media came. They would call us. Because the international media is there, therefore you must come and blend in and let this be seen to be a regular thing. I'm not saying the President's office has not made effort to speak to the media. It has a record in openness, in being able to allow media to ask sometimes even very stupid questions.
And so you feel that it's a waste of time for you to go there?
I think it was no longer worth it. We had done our bit. It was not necessary any longer. So we decided boycott, and we told them as much, not to expect us. So it isn't just that we walked out. We said, no, we think we won't come.
And did you have anything that you wanted to solve by not going? And do you feel that you've been able to achieve that?
No, I wanted to solve time wasting. Look, you wake up, you get from your small newspaper, you've a lot of work to do, you get onto a motorcycle and you run, sweating, and sit there for 2 hours. And the issues that related with media, for example, were not being solved. We didn't have a printer, we had to go to Kampala every time. You do an interview with the president, but you have to go to print it in Uganda. And can't bring it like plastic shoes for a long time, hours and hours. And you get stuck at the border and all that. So, and these are things we had already thrashed out and we had got promises. But for years, we didn't get any answer. Even now, the print media is still looking for a printer.
But there are those who feel like the print media in Rwanda needs to re-strategize because of the way the market looks like. Some say that your survival is really difficult because one, the reading culture is not that there, and so you need to really think differently. Do you feel that's the reason?
Yeah, I think the way to go is internet. I do that article in 2 hours. Throw it on the net distributes it for me, I get reactions and
you achieve your purpose.
And I achieve my purpose. So I think what we need to do is to concentrate on content. Do we have the content? Because media is everywhere, but very little content.
Very little content.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this particular article that you're burning with fire to touch on, of Rwanda's lion and political hyenas. This is an article that you published, and the platform where you used to publish it was on the GreatLakesVoice.com. That is where I saw it. Yeah. And it happened to hit 4,789 hits in terms of the views.
In terms of Rwanda, that's big.
That's big for you. Now, what did you really want to achieve in this article? Because you went ahead to even brand certain figures in Rwanda, certain names that some people felt like this is being abusive.
Absolutely no apologies. Why? First of all, this style, I used figurative speech, figures of speech, right? So the people mentioned there, Karugarama, Muremi, whoever, are not hyenas. They wouldn't say, oh, this man
called me a hyena.
But you're not a hyena. This is a figure of speech.
But you related their behavior to that of a hyena.
Yeah, sure.
That's how they're behaving.
Yeah, because we have seen that done by other authors and all that. People like in Animal Farm by one English author, George Orwell, has done that, and we think it is a style. And if the message I wanted to, when people are saying, oh, look, we want President Kagame to run. I said, okay, for a third term. And then we thought, well, that's the opinion of one person. Then everybody comes here and saying this and saying that. And most of these people who give a endorsement to the president,
yes,
they have shadow, character that you would question. Karugarama has been fired, so he was undeserving on behalf of the president. Is he trying to placate the president by turning around? I call him a turncoat.
You did call him a turncoat.
Yeah.
And he was here on this particular show,
yeah,
and he definitely cleared the air on some of those things that you are sort of trying to say that he did.
So
why do you believe that he's a turncoat?
Why did he come to contact to say that? Why didn't he write to the paper that wrote about him, The Guardian? But he wanted to just, he's confusing us. He said it. He was quoted correctly. The president didn't say he wasn't quoted correctly. But Karugarama goes there and tries to hide behind his other words. This is not genuine. This is why we question his integrity. People like Habumuremyi, the former PM,
yes,
we don't know why he was fired. He was fired, and the next morning he begins to write articles praising the president. Man, he was fired, and the other day he was complaining about how small his office is that he has now. This is the type of person we cannot respect. If the president wants an endorsement, he should be endorsed by people of integrity.
No, but wait. If a person of appointing authority fires you, are you expected to write negative things after you've gone for you to be to have integrity?
No.
Is this what you're trying to say, Karugarama and the rest of
the
doing?
But they should keep quiet.
Why should they keep quiet? Don't they have a voice on national issues?
They should tell us about their situation first. Did they tell us why they were fired? They should tell us. And you see, in this debate on constitutional term limits,
which you have said that is not even actually a debate. You've said that it's not even a debate.
It's not even a debate. What is a debate now is we should be thinking about other governance issues, broader governance issues. If we are going, everybody who comes says, let's change Article 101. Every person in Rwanda knows Article 101 without knowing the exact content. Yeah, but everybody knows you change that and you have President Kagame to run. They don't even know another person could run. No, they say President Kagame is allowed to run. Now, we think in the conception there is wrong. First of all, if you say that this allows the president to run, you are like tying the change of the constitution to one man who is indispensable. You deify him, you make him a god. President Kagame is not a god. He can be replaced. So that's why Karugarama should have stuck by his word and said, yes, the president should be replaced.
But do you believe that's what he said? Is that what he really said? Based on your analysis, based on your research, when you're writing this, is that really what he said? Because he comes out and says, no, I was misquoted.
We met this journalist before I met Karugarama. We asked him, actually we suggested he goes and see Karugarama.
So you are the ones who sent this journalist or advised the journalist to go and interview?
So if Karugarama swallowed the bait, that's his problem.
Wait,
but he should know.
Hold it. So when you say bait, was this a trap? Was this a setup to go and interview him and make him say this?
But we knew he would speak out. Yeah. So he spoke, and now he's trying to cut the bait from his belly. It's very difficult. Very difficult. So the broader governance issues are this. When the president, first of all, we should have a constitution or a law that curbs the powers of the president. Currently, the president has too much powers. One, he can appoint Karugarama today and fire him tomorrow. Karugarama does not need to go through a vetting process. Look at the case of Joe Habineza. Joe Habineza is hired as a culture and youth and sports minister. No vetting process. Where does he come from? We know his past. He used to work for Heineken. This is a man of good times. He drinks, he likes his beer, and he likes his girls. And you want now to change this person into a saint. Anyway, he becomes culture and sports minister. When he goes back to his own nature, you fire him, or rather he resigns. And the next day you hire him as an ambassador. Again, no vetting process. If ambassadors are vetted in parliament, in the Senate is also full of Kagame appointees, the president's appointees. And therefore, he passes and he goes to Nigeria. So he goes through some purgatory and comes back. He becomes minister, the same spot. When he does the pageantry, the beauty pageantry, and well, he frolics with the girls or something like that, then you fire him. But you knew all the same. But this is your problem. This is the problem of too much power concentrated in the hands of the president. So if it was like in Uganda, you remember Sebagara, the former mayor of Kampala, he was presented to parliament and they didn't vet him. They said, no, we can't have Sebagara. He just doesn't have the schooling that is necessary for this. So we should have a vetting process. But then see who vets. It is parliament. But how is parliament constituted? Parliament itself is a sham.
Here in Rwanda?
Yes.
Is that what you say?
Absolutely.
No apologies for that statement.
No apologies. It is a sham. How do you write a list of people and say, well, this is so, this is so, this is so? You write a list. And you present a party, and if people choose the party, then they choose your list. But they have not seen your list.
So when you say it's a sham, then are you trying to say the Constitution is a sham? Because this is what is provided for in the Constitution.
Why would they want to change 101? Because the Constitution is not right. It's not complete. Yeah. It's not complete. So if we want to change, let's change broad issues, governance issues in this Constitution. We can let people have a constituency. Do you know that some of these people have such character that you wouldn't even hire them for I don't know what?
These are the MPs.
Yes, some of them. Some of them have been known to steal from supermarkets in South Africa.
No blanket statements.
No, this one.
Who? Like who?
No, we wouldn't. I wouldn't mention that.
Why?
I don't need to.
You don't have the facts about it.
If anybody wants to contest that,
yes,
let them go to court.
But you are a citizen, and you should be able to do such things.
So if a party will put up a list of just anybody, about anybody, we don't know the criteria by which they have been. I mean, you don't know them. You're not choosing people, you're choosing a party. That cannot be allowed. Then that party is the same one that is going to, even if it vets a minister, everything will pass. So still, the president of the republic and the ruling party RPF have just too much power that is in the laws and the constitution.
So then, where does your role come in as a private citizen when you say that you are not able to mention, you're not able to, bring to the spotlight some of those people that you feel are a sham in this parliament?
While truth is good to tell, you wait the time to come. Yes, let them challenge that. Because look, what criteria? I mean, it's in this country. There is a huge problem of elections and office bearers. A mayor, how does he go to power? It's a selective process, very selective process. I won't be able to become a mayor because I don't have a godfather. If you have a godfather, you get into power, whoever you are. So it's godfatherism. This godfatherism cannot advance because when they make a mistake, I'll give you an example. I come from Karangazi sector in Nyagatare. What happens to executive officer? This is a guy who remained with a lot of land after the land redistribution. He continues to sell it privately. Then there are other programs where he profits and all that. And when he steals from citizens and they come, they really want to lynch him. The mayor helps him to, he doesn't go to jail, but instead he escapes the country. He's a man of... where did he come from?
But
where do these people come from? Because there is no proper election. Because there is godfatherism. This godfatherism is killing our country.
But the godfatherism that you claim to be existing, when we look at some of the past incidents where we've seen mayors resigning and some of them being fired and all that, there seems to be, on the face value and also from the grassroots level, that when there is an official from wherever circumstance or status that they have, and they have done anything wrong, and they have been reported and probably been found guilty, they are normally fired. So where then does this godfather come from?
They should be prosecuted. The districts is where the money is going. And there are a lot of things that, you know, if they resign, it's because they are told to resign. Nobody goes to court, nobody asks differently. Oh, you've been asked to step aside. You were asked to step in, now you can step aside. The fact that nobody resists it shows you, why have I been fired? Nobody goes to court. Because either they have messed up, or their godfathers have told them it's time to quit, or the godfathers have changed. Even godfathers change. If there was any person who was in charge of mayors and all that responsibility, it was former Menarok minister, Musoni James. So if he changes and there's another person, yeah, things change too. Godfathers have changed. Yeah.
So when we look back at the fact that something has to be done, based on what you're saying, what role then do you play as Marcel Museminali, other than just complaining or seeming to be feeling shortchanged? What role then do you play? Instead of also just sitting and saying, let's wait for the truth to come.
I didn't wait. I wrote, my role as a journalist is to write, to research, to speak out. I wrote, I'm on internet. As you saw, you are referring to my article. There have been other articles written that relate to mine. Yeah, and I'm here on Contact FM. So that's the role. Because we want a peaceful role. We want a country where we can discuss issues. We don't want to go the Burundi way. The Burundi way of throwing stones is really beneath us. Rwandans don't do things that way. But we should be able to discuss. We should be able to tell the president, instead of saying, President, run, we are asking him, hey, reduce your powers. Let's have mayors who are able to come from the grassroots. Mayors who universal suffrage puts in place. Let us have ministers being vetted. Let us have a parliament that is independent.
But who would vet them? Because all the people that you've suggested that would have been good for vetting them, in your opinion, you feel cannot be able to vet them.
So who will vet them? The first thing the President of the Republic, President Kagame, should do before 2017 is to change all this. To change our governance, our broader governance issues. Let people go there, out there, and contest in a constituency, come to parliament, and be appointed as ministers from parliament.
Is this something that the president is the one who should do?
He should do. Let all these other people who say, well, we want him to run, change only this. No, let's change the broad issues in the constitution that allow for this democratic space. There is also, don't forget that in order for all press offenses now, they could pick me and put me in jail because the law says you go to jail. You have to decriminalize defamation, press offenses. We haven't done that. So to do this, to say what we are saying is a risk. But this risk we must run, because otherwise we get into Burundi situation.
So in other words, what you're trying to say is that you're agreeing to a change of the constitution, but in a broad perspective.
Absolutely.
Not just that article of term limit, but
in fact that article is not very essential now. What is essential are these other issues. Because if you're going to put this through parliament, and this is a sham parliament, then it's useless. Because the result will be as useless as the sham parliament. What you need to do is have a parliament in which people say, yes, we will vote this way, we will vote that way.
But even from countries where the parliamentarians are elected from constituencies,
Yes.
they've never been that perfect. I'll give you a perfect example. Even in Kenya, we've seen this, that the coalition, for example, those who have formed the government through coalition governments, they have talked of numbers. And so if you have numbers, that is what matters. And if you have anything that you want to pass based on what you want to achieve, you definitely get it. So how would we, as Rwanda, be able to deal with this issue if we say we go constituency basis?
All systems are not perfect. That's why we put their countermeasures. But think about the elections in Great Britain. What happened? A 20-year-old girl unseats an old man. I mean, because the people now look at this person and say, hey, this person, we understand where she's going and we want to be with this person. You go and sit. But in this type of situation where you change people as you want, a prime minister usually resigns with his cabinet. I've never seen where a prime minister just resigns alone. But in Rwanda, the prime minister goes, and the whole cabinet remains. I mean, what is this? Because the guy has no say, he has no power, he's appointed to be there, and he could have done something, maybe, but wouldn't we have a right to know? Okay, the president has the prerogative to appoint this person, but shouldn't we know why he was fired? No, we don't. This is not accountability.
The issue here is, if we do not know why they were fired, and we do not probably push harder to find out why they were fired, then who's wrong here? Whose mistake is it? Is it the president's mistake, or is it our own mistakes for not finding out?
Accountability means when you do an action, then you show the reason why. The president didn't tell us why. He didn't tell us why he fired Habineza. Habineza did, for us who are watching, well, it's good pageantry, good beautiful girls, nice environment. We should have done it, part of it here, part of it in Dubai, and sold our country. Our country is beauty pageant. But he was fired. And the next thing we had the president grumbling. But this man, you knew why he resigned. You knew who he was. Intelligence should have told you this. You hired him. So why are you grumbling? You should take responsibility for that and say, I am sorry, I hired Habineza.
Are you falling down? Listen, there's a statement you made on this article. Let's just go back to it before we take our very fast break right here. And you say that I have followed with, I must avow, a bit of intellectual laziness, the monologue of the Kagame third term talk that some misinterpret as a debate. Before we leave this program today, I would like you to probably explain to us how would you like this issue to be handled for you to look at it as a debate? Because today we already have people who are saying, I don't want him to go on. There are those who are saying, we would like him to go on. What is not debate like in this?
This could be a debate. But it was one-sided. It was a monologue. It was these people who say, hey, we want president to run because people have benefited, business people, even others have come along. Business people who have written recently, like, what's his name? Yeah, a businessman who was instrumental in building what used to be this hotel. Yeah.
So why do you say it's a monologue?
It's a monologue because
if one side is not there to back their own side,
no, because I was saying, hey,
whose mistake is it?
This is what I was saying. Now you have a debate. You're going to have a debate. You've provoked us enough. We're going to give it to you.
Yes.
Don't complain when we begin to give it to you because you had a head start. So if terminologies and figures of speech are used, hey, bear with them. Fight.
They have to fight back.
Yeah.
That now makes it a debate.
Yeah.
But in this case, if one side is, outspoken or speaks more than the other side, where is the problem here? Who is not making it a debate? Is it those who are not talking or speaking their mind out?
Let's be very clear.
Or what?
I'm rural based. I came from Nyagatare. I have a country home, a beautiful country home. I love it. I commute sometimes. And I'm telling you, just the other day, the local leaders were hustling people to sign for Kagame third term. It is organized by the grassroots. I mean, these guys have the power, they have the machinery, they have the same people who are beneficiaries of the third term are the ones making people sign.
And you can prove this anywhere.
It happens everywhere. This is what is happening. So it's not fair. Let people not play with our conscience. We're not stupid. Rwandans are not stupid. Let us be fair-minded. Because if you want, you have disruptions. We do not. I like President Kagame. Man, I went to school with him. I know him. I have seen him. He's a good person. But I do not want him to be, to be vilified and people throw stones at him and all that. No, it isn't good. It isn't good for our image. Kagame should be our brand. And if people want to use that brand for their own benefit, this is my major problem. These people know they won't eat if President Kagame is not there. That's why I call them political hyenas.
And we'll be right back. Hold that thought over there. Marcel Museminali himself, he calls himself Chungs in Rwanda on Twitter. You can follow him and be able to find out what he's talking about or what he is up to. And this is OneOnOne. We're taking a very quick break right now to pay some bills. And when we return, we're touching on Burundi and, of course, more issues around some of the ideologies and perceptions that Marcel Museminali has. This is OneOnOne. Do stay with us.
Introducing Mr. Money! Send your money instantly. Safety is guaranteed. It don't matter how far it is. It reaches safe and quickly. Pay water bills immediately. Do the same for electricity and also pay for DSTV. But top up airtime real quickly. Send your money. Top up your airtime. Airtime money. Hi, I am Mr. Money, and I bring you Airtel Money, the fastest, safest way to send money, pay bills, top up, and more. With Airtel Money, you can do more instantly.
Airtel Money in Rwanda by dialing the number 5000. Call Rwanda 5000 brings together dealers and clients in English, French, and Kenya Rwanda. For more information, please call +250 788 302371. Call Rwanda now 5000. Mike Lee Sound System. Mike Lee Sound System. Kuma bisobanutse bya sonorisation bya Mike Lee. Inzobere muri tekinike ndetse na muzika. Mureke babandi bacomeka ibyuma bakagusiga ushinzwe kubirinda. Bamwitabaza ugasanga reka hamagara Mike Lee kuri telefone igendanwa 078 maze wirebera ibirori koko. Ndumva nta mpamvu yo gushakira ahandi rero. Mike Lee Sound System number 1.
Ushobora kwiguriza kuri ATM za banki ukoresheje MTN Mobile Money. Gana imwe muri izi banki maze ubashe gukoresha iyi serivisi: Access Bank, GT Bank, I&M Bank, Urwego Community Bank, BRD ndetse n'izindi zizabageraho vuba. Ukanda akanyenyeri 8 akadirishya uhitemo serivisi za banki. Ushobora no kohereza amafaranga hagati ya konti yawe ya banki via MTN Mobile Money. Iyi serivisi wayibona kuri I&M Bank, KCB Bank ndetse n'izindi zizabageraho vuba. Injira mu isi nshya y'amafaranga meza.
Basongongeza inshuti n'abavandimwe maze ubusabane
Send your money instantly. Safety is guaranteed. It don't matter how far it is. It reaches safe and quickly. Pay water bills immediately. Do the same for electricity and also pay for DSTV. But top up airtime real quickly. Send your money instantly. Top up your airtime instantly. Airtel Money. faster money. And I bring you Airtel Money, the fastest, safest way to send money, pay bills, top up, and more. With Airtel Money,
And welcome back. This is OneOnOne right here on 89.7 Contact FM. If you're watching us through your smart device, it is C24. That's the app you need to download, and you'll definitely be able to watch some of our programs right here. And for those who have also been watching us on YouTube and leaving us comments, we definitely appreciate you. Our lines are now open, 897. You can call us and get in touch with us, ask your question, or you can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe, or you can tweet OneOnOne RW. Use the hashtag OneOnOneRW so that we can be able to mobilize your tweets and comments. My guest in studio is Marcel Museminali. He's right here to talk about some of the statements that he's been making through his articles and, of course, his position on the third term. And we're just also about to discuss what's happening in Burundi. Marcel, welcome back to the second part of the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So before we went for the break, you were trying to explain to us some of the things that you meant in your article.
Yeah.
And of course, a quick question for you is, when you wrote this article, exactly, you got so much feedback from the article, but my main issue here is, do you think that those people you were addressing in your article, and let me just be specific and say which article, because some people out there may not be understanding what article are they talking about. We're talking about the article of Rwanda's lion and political hyenas. Do you think your message went down to those people that you were trying to address in this piece? And do you see any change at all from them? Let's not talk about those who felt like, wow, he's spoken something, but those people you specifically targeted in this article, including the president himself, which will read what the advice you gave him in your article. Those you targeted and you called the names, the figurative speech that you used, do you think that they got your message?
I think the main intention was, these people, you do not have the credibility to actually say the president should run again. It's been run down one way or the other. But even then, even if you have the credibility, either you're in government, or you have the president's patronage, you meet him every day, and he expects you to write in support. This is wrong. This is not the way you endorse somebody. We should have Kagame, as I said, is our brand. He's not particular to one person. He's the one and brand. We want to see him actually. My understanding is that Kagame should go out there, maybe become president of East Africa when we have a federation, or go to or become UN Secretary General or something like that. But these people want to hold him there so that they can eat. They can be appointed because he knows them. They want to remain within his circles. So this is selfish. To be unselfish is to let Kagame achieve the highest goal.
But looking at what we see every day, Marcel, honestly speaking, do you want to say that these appointments we see are made as a result of the president wanting to have people closer to him to eat? Really?
No, that is not his intention. But once they have been eating,
and this eating that you're saying, what exactly is it? Because from what we also see publicly, the issue of corruption, if you're saying that is that kind of eating, we tend to see and hear a lot of zero tolerance to corruption. So what is this type of eating that you're talking about?
I mean, we are saying, these people who wrote, I've given you, there's one Bosco Rusagara, for example, who wrote recently in the New Times.
Yes.
I know him personally. He to a large extent, he was able to, I think, to procure a lot of things for most of these hotels and all that. He has the patronage of the president. Let him come and deny it. So that person who has the patronage of the president shouldn't be the one to speak.
This is an allegation.
And this is not an allegation.
This is an allegation.
This is not an allegation. This is RPF hardcore who has these privileges of being part of the party and being part of this. He's been useful, yes, but this is a person who is close, who talks to the president on phone. You understand? Habu Muremi has just been fired. We don't know why he was fired. This is a guy who is trying to placate. He's been thrown into some other obscure office. I am not saying that office is really very small, but it's smaller than the Prime Minister's office.
But then,
Karugarama wants to come back to life. So he finds a chance and jumps back.
But come back to life.
Shiti Manase used to run the RPF business empire.
Come back to life. Let's talk of Karugarama, who was here on that particular seat you're sitting on right now. And he was open and he said, I am happy where I am right now. I'm retired.
Next time you call
I am
him,
relaxing.
please make
I am
it
rearing my...
2-on-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? You think he was lying to us here on the show?
Well, he had his own intentions. I didn't follow the show exactly, but I know what happened. That journalist talked to us, and we did tell him where to go, and he went there, and he got a statement, and the statement got a reprisal from the president. That's how when he was fired. No other reason. The president said he's been in power for a long time. You should go also. And the next thing we knew, he had gone.
Why wouldn't you believe? Why wouldn't you believe what the president said and think that probably it was because of what he said?
Yeah, it was because of what he said. Because the president said he should go, and he went. Why would we expect anything else? There was not even a time lapse significant enough to suggest anything else.
And then talking of this presidential term limits issue, when you go out there, for example, either you or those who have the like mind of saying, you know what, we don't need to see the president run again in 2017. In his latest press conference, he was clear. He said, you know what, I'm of the mindset of those who are saying let's not change this constitution. Yeah. In fact, for me,
but he said
I don't really listen. He's open also. Listen, he also said, for me, I'm not really even interested in hearing from those who don't want me to stay, because after all, I've not applied for another term. I want to hear at least more from those who are saying I should stay to convince me. So when you,
but we are seeing things on the ground.
What are you seeing on the ground?
They are coming. They are in millions, and
is it
they are done at the district level with all the government machinery. So the government is asking a third term for the president. Funny. There should be another way. But that one is not the process is not clear. It's not good. But for me, that's not the issue. The issue, we have other issues which are more important. Governance issues. The president should be stripped of the too much power that he has. We should be able, the parliament should be elected through clear universal suffrage and constituencies. The mayors too. For example, it's important that also the president of the republic should not be a chairman of a political party, especially when that party is in power. Supposing now the president was not the chairman of the RPF, what would happen? Maybe the real chairman of the party would say, Mr. President, I think you won't run for, our party will present another candidate. But now he's the chairman and the president of the republic rolled in one. We sometimes have to second guess whether he's speaking for the party or for the presidency. We have a problem. He should be able to say, hey, look, the chairmanship, let it stay. If he leaves the presidency and wants to be chairman, he should go and contest. I voted most of the time for RPF.
And when you talk of this issue of chairmanship and presidency being co-joined, or the same person being president and also being chairman of that ruling party, what is wrong with that? Because at the end of the day, there are things that he has to do as president, and there are things that are clearly written that he has to do as a chairman.
No, we hire him as the president of the republic.
And not as a chairman of the party. So that should not matter.
That's a big job already. We hire him as the president of the republic. and pay me a good salary and privileges.
And so why should the chairmanship of being a party leader?
Chairman of a party should leave that.
Why does that concern you?
What happened to power sharing?
What does that concern the public, being chairman of a ruling party?
No, for me, I'm speaking now as an RPF, a person who votes RPF. I would like that to change. Or like another person to be chairman of the party. Why does he hold on to it? He has to do the finances. You know, they have a financial empire, very big. Now they have to bring all the finances to him and all that. We cannot even distance. What if there is just a problem about finances of the party? What happens? The party takes him to court. No, he should. It is better. His conscience should be able to tell him, okay, let another person be chairman.
Right.
This is what many people would want.
I will not want us to really delve so much into the issue of the party and how the party runs and all that, because definitely I'm sure the party has its own constitutional structures of how it manages its affairs. But let's talk of something we all know about, something we all seeing on our media houses or media outlets, and this is the issue of Burundi that is happening right now.
Yeah.
Some people have come out and openly said that look at what is happening in Burundi. We definitely should be looking at that as a mirror of what would happen in Rwanda in 2017. But I fail to see a correlation.
Actually, I have a problem with, because the president has been outspoken on Burundi.
Exactly.
The president's mind, according to the statements he's made in the press, seem to suggest that, Nkurunziza is daft. He's not smart. If he was smarter, there wouldn't be any riots, and therefore the people would. Yeah, he says it's just one of the problems. The third term is just one of the problems. So he's belittling the fact that the guy is going for a third term, and that's the one giving a problem. But there's no difference between here and Burundi, as far as I'm concerned.
What do you mean by that? When you say there's no difference?
Supposing you and I went to the street and decided to riot. We don't want third term. What's the difference? And what a few street urchins.
The difference is definitely there, my friend, because when you see what is happening in Burundi, maybe you could just plug it inside. It's what is happening. We've seen the police, who sometimes are supposed to, or not sometimes, always are supposed to support or protect the civilians. There are some allegations or some pictures that have been showing the police themselves.
You think the police here wouldn't shoot you? Oh, they would. They would use water cannons. Why do you think they have those fire trucks?
But who has gone out there and been done for this thing? Because we seem to be speculating that this is what will happen here without probably putting facts to the statement.
We cannot belittle the fact that there's an aura of confidence in our country. Right? And therefore, people say, well, let's get over with this. In fact, there is tension over this third term thing. Otherwise, people would just go on. But we are saying, hey, this is not correct. If this man has too much powers, and some people might use some of these powers, because I have argued about this with Shuti Manase, who said, no, there is security and all that. We still have a few people who die on the street, and nobody explains. The police doesn't explain. We have never had the Inspector General of Police being asked by Parliament how so-and-so met his death, or why he hasn't a report over the death of somebody. Even I don't remember having a report on the other guy, the politician Kagwa, whose head was cut off from his torso. We didn't get a very good report on Wigara, the business tycoon. We don't know. We're not very clear about the bodies that surfaced in the Lake Rwanda. We don't know. Police didn't give us a statement. I mean, no, there is an aura of indispensability and power.
But
we cannot even push through, and that is dangerous.
How can you say that when you are a journalist who is a seasoned journalist who has been there for all this time.
Yes.
And we understand the power of a journalist is to seek for information even where you might not be able to really get it. Do you want to tell me here that you have tried to find the truth on these things that you've alleged here and you've not been able to get the information?
The police is...
You have a newspaper.
Look,
have you tried to do this and failed to get this information?
Look, let's be very clear.
Yes.
The police should, in a proactive way, put out a statement, clear statement, right?
And in the event that they don't, you should be able to push for that, to get that information,
the private sector federation,
yes,
where this man was prominent, should be able to say, hey, look, this is what we feel. But there is this travesty of silence. Everybody wants to be silent. Nobody wants to speak out. Even now, many people think that's a madman who's talking like that, because will he survive? But everybody comes to die anyway. Even presidents die.
So wait, Marcel, you still haven't answered my question on the issue of this information thing. If you feel that they're not proactive in giving you this information, I would like you to tell us right here that your newspaper was not able to get information from the police, was not able to get information from any relevant authorities that was supposed to give you this.
First of all, if it wasn't for internet, most of our views wouldn't be heard. We thank the internet for this, that I would be able to publish something. I have content. But do you know how difficult it is? They make it difficult to have a printer. So they want you to go to Uganda and have it very difficult. They have made some of the media climate is not very conducive. Especially, of course, the hard copies, the print media has had problems from competition from internet. But if you go there, they will tell you, oh, this file, this person died like this. And that's it. They should have clear processes of telling people who disappeared, they're here. This one didn't disappear. It should be proactive. We are in that type of society. So don't tell me I have to go and beg police every time to tell me everything.
And if they don't, and if they don't become proactive, so do you just sit there?
No, we haven't sat there. We have written.
So what information then have you come out with?
If you look at this very website where you got this one, this journalist went a long way to find out from the relatives, from the accident scene, and so forth. Yeah.
But today you talk of a media where you say, we still have those who are not able to manage to put their stories out there or have their articles written or their publications put out there. But we now have a self-regulatory media.
Yeah,
don't you feel that this is a milestone already, that the government no longer has an arm in deciding what you put out there, or has never even had?
Let me say this. I know over this article people called the RIMC chairman, and they wanted to have information. They really wanted to hang me. But he asked them, who wants to go first and bring an allegation? We will deal with it the proper way we know. So we are happy. But remember, this media climate was not created by government alone. Yes, government was a partner, but we went a long way. Do you remember our skirmishes with Media High Council and Murama? We fought those wars. We wrote the law on the media. And then, of course, they put caveats about security and all that, and spoiled it. But our media is the most liberal. Our media law is one of the most liberal. And the information, access to information law, wow, it's good.
So aren't you shooting yourself on your leg? Aren't you shooting yourself on your leg? When you say, you're saying this now, and you earlier on said that you still having an environment where you're not able to put out certain things, and yet you again come back and say
the questions that
this statement you're making.
The problems that remain in the media now are more economic than
political,
than editorial. Really, editorial. Yes, we have to have content. We have to have the resources to go and do research, and we have the media that accepts. Because now, actually, our media house, we have a company. Business Daily is a company. So we think our way to go should be creating content and selling content and coming in contact and say, hey, we have content. We have done our investigation on this story. Would you like to run it? And would you come up with a little money so you don't have to spend on searching for content? Content companies there. That is the same for TVR. RBA. RBA cannot produce all the content it needs. It needs to buy content from somewhere else. So can we have some content companies? So the next leap is not creating these media houses, it's creating content companies. These content companies, what do? They produce content. And the people in the media houses are professionals. They look at it, they vet these articles and produce them and put them there. And that's when we have a media that is, because what you don't do very well, you leave. I can't buy a printer, it costs $2 million.
That those who feel like
I don't need. I won't go that way. I'll create content. I'll create an article and sell it. Yeah.
And so this is what you're doing right now.
This is what we're doing now.
What happens to Business Daily?
Well, Business Daily is still a company that has a host of other things. It's registered with the Register of Companies in Rwanda Development Board. So. It does other things. Media is just one aspect. Yeah.
Let's talk of the just concluded Development Journalism Awards.
Yeah.
And the aim of this, based on the organizers, is to award and to celebrate those who have been doing well in the industry, and also look back at the growth of the industry here in Rwanda. Your opinion in this, because at the end of the day, there are those who feel like, okay, claiming that we are only awarding those who do pro-government things, or those who are just doing things that are going the same direction. In your opinion, what do you think about this? Do you feel that this is the way to go?
So, the majority of people who are awarded, either including the Journalist of the Year award, went to New Times, right? Now, we know New Times. The ownership of New Times. We now begin to talk about ownership. The ownership of New Times, at the last time, it belonged to powerful people in government. So, these people have put in a lot of money. Before Yonfor was sold, New Times owed billions.
How is that related?
Printing.
How is that related to what I'm asking?
They have the right, they have a lot of advantage over other media. So should they compete with me, who runs that newspaper?
So you want to have separate awards for smaller newspapers?
You should recognize effort. The person who made the greatest effort. This newspaper has just come up. This is small. This is this, but they managed to do this. But now they take all the money and give one guy. They overwhelm me with millions. I do not respect that.
So in those categories, in those awards, where do you think you, as Marcel, would have featured in?
I didn't contest. As I've told you, I think the criteria for those awards is not very clear. And I don't want to get into things that are not very clear.
Are you a member of the Association of Journalists in Rwanda?
Yes, I am.
But that's also where this awards came from, the organization. So if you're a member, why didn't you put in your voice or comments or opinions?
The first thing we wanted to say, we said it. And we didn't want to complicate other things because we would have been misunderstood. But we said, if you are a journalist in Rwanda, one of the conditions you must fulfill is to be accredited by the Rwanda Media Commission. Most of the people who go to those don't have a card. They are not journalists legally. You could sue them. You could sue RGB for misusing government funds because they said they are awarding journalists and they awarded to phantoms. They are not journalists. So we said, hey, why don't you use this chance to drum up the effort for people to join RMC? To get accreditation from RMC.
How does it change your skills skills? How does this change your, ability to be a good journalist?
Look,
by carrying a card branded
the
RMC?
thing is,
wouldn't it be easier or okay already for an employer, for example, Contact FM, having a badge?
Are you saying we should abolish RMC? And
no, but still, I don't understand the relevance.
The relevance is of this person. The law. We respect the law. We want to respect the law. We set up institutions we want to respect. So if somebody thinks they are big because they are Contact FM or a BA, they don't want to respect the law regarding the media, then that's pathetic. That's a haughty attitude is not correct for the media, because we fought tooth and nail to have most of these institutions. Why should you disrespect them?
So should it be mandatory to be a member of RMC? Should it be mandatory for you to be a member of
the law says that the authority to give out cards that to a journalist belong only to RMC, not any other body, not the Minister of Justice, not Minalok, not RGB, not anybody. That institution called RMC. But because people think they are big, that's you use your office, your position, your numbers to commit. It's a felony, more or less.
To feel that there's a felony committed there. Let's finish off with this particular message you sent to the president through your article, and you told him that President Kagame must not profit the political hyenas hunt, because the hyenas in real sense want to devour both the lion and the carcass. The lion should instead turn against the hyenas and decimate them and breed a pride of lions, if only at least to preserve sanity in Rwanda's political animal kingdom.
Message clear. The president should not accept people who tell him lies, who placate him. He should listen to logic, to reasons. He should listen to criticisms like those we have put forward here. Because otherwise you have a problem with these people.
Do you think he had this? Do you think he got this message?
I write for all people. If he didn't get it, the information I had, I have quite a lot of information. There is a team that looks at all articles on third term, and I know what that team is comprised of. That team also includes people in different sections of government. So this is very wide.
So you feel the message got to the guy himself?
Yeah, I think it gets to him. I think this one is getting to him.
Okay.
Because that's why I came. If I had no doubt that this message would get to him, if I had a doubt, I wouldn't come here.
Really?
I spent a lot to come here. I spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money to come here. I still want to go and stay in my country home. I love it.
Okay. And on that note, we'll let you leave. Thank you so much for being on the program, Marcel.
Thank you, Anangwe, for hosting me. I hope you read
this one.
Global Citizen.
Definitely.
He's certainly better than myself. He's a great person. And if you read the blurb, the back of the copy is called the blurb.
Yes.
That one tells you all those guys who think he's a great person. He has a philosophy, I think, that helps the world to understand where it has reached. The world is so sophisticated. I come here and tell the president what I want. 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible. The world has changed, and people should change with it.
But Reporters Without Borders feels that we're even doing worse. We've dropped from 141 to 161 in terms of press freedom rankings.
That's their problem. They never ask me. They never ask me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd let you go back to your
You're welcome.
Up country.
And so I'll leave you.
Thank you so much, Marcel, for being on the program. And on that note, we definitely bring down the curtains to OneOnOne today. We'll see you again next week on Sunday, same time, same place, right here on 89.7 Contact FM. Definitely keep the conversation going. The hashtag to use is OneOnOneRW. We'll see you again next week. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.